Hello everyone, welcome to part 4 of the Easter Journal. This is the Art Impressions Inspirational Easter Journal for 2023. I'm Bonnie Krebs and I'm going to work you through the last pages of the journal. So that is pages 5 and 6, and then we'll also be doing the back cover. Now that's totally up to you. It's sort of a little bonus project, but I just love decorating that back cover. And so the tutorial's included, and of course it's up to you if you want to do that last part. So we're going to start out with the watercolor projects. We're going to complete these just like we have in the previous tutorials, and then we'll assemble them into our journal. And this is the last one. So you guys, this will be the end of it. We will have completed our little Easter journal, and I hope you are as happy with it as I have been. So here's what we're going to need. This goes on the back cover. So this is totally up to you. This is number 5271 hydrangea border set. And they go both ways, so it doesn't really matter which one you want to do, just whichever one is more pleasing to your eye, whether you have the one going this direction or you have the one going this way. So totally up to you how you want to do that. We're going to be using that on the back page. And then in the Birdhouse Village set, now we used the little basket previously, so we're going to use the little birdhouses in this one. And then in addition to those basic images, we're going to use some of the foliage set 4. So these little vines, either one is going to work. So whichever one is more comfortable for you to use, you can choose either one of those. Now in the flower set 6, we're going to use one of the long stems. And again, whichever one is most comfortable for you to use. I use the one that's sort of angling off to the right. And then we're also going to use one of these. And this one is most comfortable for me. But, you know, again, totally up to you, whichever one you want to use. And then one more. This long stem here, this is from flower set 2. We're going to use this pretty little thing. So here we go, you guys. I've got my palette ready, I've got my water ready, and I've gone ahead and pre-stamped my my watercolor projects and cut them out. So I'm just going to show you what I used. I went ahead and cut this one out and pre-stamped it using one of the double stitch dies. So let's just measure this, and I'll tell you which one this is. So this is a 2.5 inch circle, double stitch circles from the double stitch circle die set. So the 2.5 will work perfectly. And then this one, this is on the back cover. And actually the frame is going to be a different color, different type of printed paper. And we're going to do the same thing as we have done in the past. And that's cut the whole thing out of our watercolor paper. And then just kind of set this aside. You know, you may use this later for something else, so don't toss it. But for this project and this journal, we only need the inside. And then when we go to put it into the frame, I mean, it just fits in there perfectly. So I just feel like that's the easiest way to do it. Now, those two frames are part of the rectangle frame set. And you can see this one right here. And here's the little one right inside. This one right here. So we're using both of those. And we're going to use 4 of these little images. And these are the cutest little canvases, and they just fit, you know, of course, right inside. So we're going to be using the frame and the little canvas. So let's just set these aside. We're going to be doing 4 of those. Okay, we are ready to get started. Let's just, you know what, let's do these little ones and sort of put them aside. We're going to be using the same flower on these as all the others. So we're going to use this little one right here. And I'm going to just ink it in that bright violet. So the 685. And I'm going to do 2 and 2. So I'm going to ink 2 of these in the violet and 2 of them in the purple. And I'm just going to ink part of the stem. So just kind of where the leaves are. And I'm going to start out clear over to the side, and I'm going to ink it twice, just like that. It's so easy. It's just so easy. So ink those little leaves, and then ink the blooms, and just kind of start way over to the side, you know, like this, and then ink it again. And then let's just kind of clean that off. And we're going to use the purple. So the dark purple is the 636, and we're going to do the same thing again. These are just so cute, and they're so easy to do. So we've got the purple now, and let's do it again. So the leaves, and then the purple blooms. And even though it's the same flower, like they all kind of look different, don't they? All right, there we go. We have got those 4 done. Now the only thing that is left to do is add a little water to them. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here. Dip my brush in water and just add a little bit on here to kind of blend out the color. Just a little bit. We don't want to totally saturate these little blooms because we don't want them to be just kind of a blob of color. We want to still see the texture in there. So just heat it a little bit. You don't need very much. And then the same with the little leaves. We're just going to kind of get these with a little bit of water. And you can see it's starting to look like a little watercolor. And this is the easiest little thing to kind of add to a card even. You know, if you're not even doing a journal and you're watching these tutorials because you want to get ideas for cards, these are great little things to put on a card. You could do a series of 4, put the little frames on your card, and maybe do a different little flower in each one. That would be so cute. All right, so let's add just a little bit of blue sky to these, just a tiny little bit. Just a little bit kind of in the center. And then just a little bit kind of over here too. And those are finished. We're going to set those aside. And then we're going to go on to our next project. So let's just go on to this one. Let's do this one really quickly. And then we'll finish up with the little birdhouses. Now I've also pulled out this little bud that we're going to add to it. This is part of the set. And I went ahead and stamped this, inked this in 2 colors. So I used the purple, so the 636, and then I used the green, the 177. And I colored the green, colored green to all the areas that are leaves and stems. And then I colored the purple onto all the blooms. And then I just stamped it onto my watercolor paper. So I did not stamp this off. So now I'm going to use my little brush, my tiny little brush. And let me just zoom in a little bit closer here so you can see. And I'm going to just kind of start out with each little petal here. And you want to stay in each section. And if you look, you can see that, make sure that's focused here. You can see that there's a little white along the edge of the blooms, and it's darker here in the center. You want to kind of keep that theme throughout as you're coloring all of these little blooms. Darker down below and lighter kind of at the top. So we're just going to kind of make our way through all of these little petals. And there's a little more ink in the center anyway, so that is really helpful when you go to pull the color out. And you know, I can't stress this enough. You need to stay in each section and do each section at a time, just one at a time. And it's really kind of fun. I mean, it's a little time consuming, but it's really fun. And it turns out so cute. So just kind of drag that color when you're pulling the color out of the lines, kind of drag it to the center where it's going to be the darkest. And just keep going. These little hydrangeas are just so cute. You could do them in different colors too. So you could do them in the blue, that really pretty bright blue. You could mix and do them in a green. Add some green to it with the purple. Just look outside and look at the colors that are in them, and that's how you want to ink them. Okay, so you can see I've gone through all of these. Let me just hold this up again so that you can see it. See the little white spaces, especially at the top. That's really, really important to do that. And let's go down now to this one here. Go up to this one here. Same thing. We're going to just do each little section. each one at a time. And I didn't, you know, the stamp is much bigger than what is in this frame, so I just used part of it. You know, always keep that in mind when you are choosing stamps, especially to put in your journal. You can just use parts of things. So if it seems like it's a really big stamp and it's not going to work, look and see if you can just ink part of it. And, you know, most of the time that will work. And because we're using markers, we can do that. So I'm gonna dip my brush in water just a little bit more. It was kind of getting a little dried out. And again, I'm just doing each one of these little petals, each one at a time. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So I'm gonna go on now and I'm gonna do the little vines. And I'm just pulling the color out of here. Just kind of follow these lines as you're going, you know, with the leaves. That's where the color is going to come from, is the lines in the leaves. So just kind of follow those. And these little ones out here as well. A little brush really is handy for these tiny little details. And really you don't need much water. And actually these little brushes, they don't take a lot of water, so it's hard to oversaturate when you're using a little brush. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little of this green, the 177, on my palette, and I'm going to add a little more green to my my leaves. I'm just going to go right back over it again, especially down underneath. And still, I'm going to try to leave some light areas. Just going to follow these little vines and add this green in. This is really relaxing. This is one of the most relaxing projects because it's already been stamped and you already know what to do, and now it's just a matter of adding your color, and it's really fun. And this one underneath here, I'm just going to make this one just a little bit darker. It's kind of underneath that top leaf here. Okay, so now we're going to take a little more of this purple, and I'm just going to add it to my palette. And I'm going to take a little bit of this and just kind of add it to the centers. Wherever you can see that there's a center, some of them are kind of turned and you can't really see where the center is. But if you can see where the center is, put a little tiny little dot in here with your purple ink. And that will set these little blooms, the centers, will drop them down, and it'll look like, you know, the little petals are coming up. Okay. That made a big difference. So I'm going to add a little sky in here now. And I'm going to use that bright blue. So this is the 526 blue that we've been using all throughout this journal. And I'm going to just put in a little bit of this blue into the background. Just add a little bit in. Don't overthink this, you know, when it comes to the sky. And we've done so many, you know, projects with sky on them that you're probably just pros at it right now. And you don't even need me to tell you not to stress out about it. Okay, so I'm going to now add a little more green. And I'm just going to kind of follow these lines and just put a few of these lines back into my leaves. I'm just using the edge of my brush. And it's just adding a little more texture inside there. Okay, so now let's take the bullet tip, and underneath here where the flower is, we're going to make these just a little bit darker underneath there. And you see how that just kind of pops everything up? When that's darker underneath the bloom, and we can just add a little darker edge onto these. Okay, I think that's good. So now we're going to add our little berries or seeds or whatever these little guys are, and we're going to use our purple. So our 636, and we're just going to ink this whole thing, and we're just going to kind of put these in wherever we want to. So maybe we'll just kind of put one over here. Maybe we'll just put one in here. And up here, and maybe just a couple up here, up above. Let's see, where else could we put? Maybe we'll just put a couple in here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now you can also take your little bullet tip and you can darken these centers using your bullet tip too. Anywhere you see a little area that's kind of, you know, way back in the shadows, you can make that darker. And it's just going to add dimension to your project. Okay, that one is finished. We're going to set this one aside, and let's go on now and do our little birdhouses. And then we're going to add some white paint to that little hydrangea, and of course to our birdhouses. We're going to add some white paint to this too. So let's get on this one. So the first thing we're going to do with this one is we're going to pull the color out of the lines. So just dip your brush, pinch it off, and especially under the overhang of the roof like this, that's going to be darker. So we can for sure go in and just kind of do that first. Underneath here where the little houses are sitting on the posts, that's always going to be darker. And then inside the little houses in there. And the little bird, she doesn't need a lot. Okay, so let's add some color now. And I'm just gonna turn my palette around here and put some color on my palette. So we'll start out with the 526. And then the Pretty Violet, 685. And some purple, 636. And then some warm brown, so the 947. And I think that's all we need. Oh, some dark blue. So the 565. All right, now we're good to go. So I'm going to just take some of this color now, and I'm going to add it to my little birdhouses. And let's just start out with a little of this purple. And, always start out with it light. Just start out with it light. It's just, you can always add a little more color to it and darken it up, but it's always a good idea to just start out light. And I think I'm going to make this in a little two-tone. So we'll just start out with this part, and then we'll come back and make this one a little bit lighter. So just make this just a light purple here. And then I'm just going to come in with a darker purple again. A little bit darker on there. And let's go on to the next one. We'll take some of this blue. And then the blue just kind of wraps around to the side. And back here on the side, that's going to be really dark because that's in the shadow. So we want to really make that dark. And then dark under here because this is in the shadow. So even if this part stays white, it's still going to be in the shadow. And the shadow is just going to be blue. Just like that. And let's go on now to the other one. And let's just put a little brown roof on here. Leave a little highlight on the top of the roof. And then on this little blue one, we're just going to do a little decorative roof here. Just like so. And then on this little brown house, I think we're just going to leave that white. So we want to make this kind of in the shadow here. And then the last one, let's do this one with this really pretty violet. And, of course, you can change these colors out to whatever you want them to be. And change them out maybe for the season. They'd be really cute at Christmas too with little snow on them. Make that little bird into a cardinal. That would be so cute. Okay, let's do a little blue roof on this one. And we'll just kind of add some color here. With something like this, you want to just kind of stay in every single section. Just do one section at a time. And then let's see, with this one, let's just add a little blue here, and let's just go this direction. And then we'll get a little darker inside the roof here. All right, so let's go ahead and finish up our shadows. We're going to have a shadow in here. We're going to definitely have a shadow here. Underneath. Inside here. And this is just that dark blue. So we're just kind of coming in here with the dark blue. And you can see what a difference it makes when you're adding that shadow in. Okay, starting to shape up here. So let's add our dark color into the little openings here. So we're going to use the twin tone, and we're going to just really darken up the little windows here. And this really, really makes a difference. All of a sudden you have dimension in your little painting. And we still want to see the side of the opening, so you can see here, you can see the side of it. So you don't want to color all the way to the edge. And then let's just add some dark color. To these little perches. All right. Whoops. Let's get the blue here. And I'm just going to get a little shadow under there. A little darker shadow here. And really darken that purple. Okay, starting to really shape up. So cute. Let's add some detail onto this little roof. You know, but adding all this texture in just really makes a difference. You know, it's a little time consuming to do it, but you know, adding the stripes and all the little details and texture, it really makes a difference in your project. So let's add a little shadow under here now. We definitely would see a shadow under the post. This one's kind of turning this way. This one's going to have a shadow back here. This one will right here. And then this one back here. So you can see they're all kind of turned differently. And I'm just going to take my twin tone and just really darken this area under here. Okay, there we go. So now let's add a little color, a little water now to these little perches. And I'm just going to darken this up just a little bit. Just make that a little darker, and then I'm going to make this darker back in here as well. You know, the more passes that you make, the more times you go over it, the darker it's going to be. Okay. That looks good. Now we're going to just make a little blue line underneath the perch. And you see how that just kind of pops it up? That little shadow underneath really makes a difference. And this little doorway here, let's put a little under there. And then just going to darken this again a little bit more under here. Now let's go on to the little bird. And I'm just going to add some blue to her little wing here. And you can, you know, make this bird whatever color that you want it to be. And maybe she's got a little brown chest. And then we want to get our twin tone again and really darken in the eyes. So that's really important to just get that little eye in there. And then, you know, you can also just get her little feet. And then let's add some sky in the background. Just a little bit of sky back in here. Okay, so now we're ready to put in our foliage, our little flowers. We're going to put those in. And so I'm going to just ink up my long stems. So this one right here, we're going to use that one, and then we're going to use this one. So let me just make sure those are cleaned off. And we're going to start out with this one right here. And we don't, you can see how long it is. We don't need to, we don't need the whole thing. So we're just going to ink up to, I think about here. I think that will about do it. Just the stem this far. And we're going to use our violet. And the green. And then we'll just stamp this in over here. And then we'll do it again. And you can use any flowers in here. Just whatever ones you want to use are going to be cute. And then let's add this one. And we're going to ink this one in the bright blue. I'm just going to put this one right in the middle. And I don't know if we need to have it, don't really need to have it anywhere else. Just right there is good. And then we're going to take our little vine and just kind of fill in a little bit. Just to add a few more leaves to our flowers. Just to kind of fill it in a little bit. And then we add the water. And that's where the magic starts. This just kind of changes everything. And just tap it. And especially with things like this, because, you know, again, we want to see the composition of the flowers, so we don't want to blend it all out and kind of turn it into a blob. So just a little bit goes a long ways. And these here too, we're just kind of touching each petal, and you can see how that just brings out that color so much. And it really, really does. Let's see. Need a little bit of this blue here. You know, once you're finished and to this point, then, you know, it's just a matter of looking at it and seeing where you need to add maybe a little more color, a little more detail. Okay, that looks good. So now let's get out our white paint. And I really don't think we need any on these little guys, but you know, I kind of feel like there's always room for white paint. So let's just put a little bit on there. Okay, so I'm going to move this down and move my palette out of the way. So I have room. And let's get out our white paint. So here's our Peach Martin. And a brush. And I put a little white in here, kind of where these leaves are. I just always feel like there's room for some little white, you know, baby's breath or something like that. And I just dip it right out of the jar. And you can add, you know, a little bit to the edges, you know, of your flowers. And I think that's probably good. That's good on there. So cute. So let's do our little birdhouse. And I'm just going to dip my brush in here. You know, if your white paint gets a little too thick, just dip your brush in water and just add a little bit of water to it. And I'm going to put just a little detail on here. You could, you know, put a little highlight on the edge of your roofs where that light would be catching. And of course, we're going to add some down in here. Maybe some right in the center of our little flowers. And let's see, do we want to add any more details? Maybe we just want to do a little detail on here. Like so. So cute. These little details really, really make a difference. Just a little bit of white. Put a highlight on our little bird. And we are finished with our little birdhouses. This is finished. So let's, you know what? Let's just do a little bit of white on here just because. So we'll just add a few little white flowers. And this is, you know, totally optional, you guys. You can add as much or as little of this as you want to. And you know what? Let's just put a few little bits in here. It just gives a little more texture, makes things look a little more three-dimensional. Okay, I think we are finished with these little projects. So we are ready to assemble them now into our journal. We're going to let them dry for a little bit, and then we will go on to the assembly, and we'll be finishing up in this tutorial. So stay tuned. I'll be right back. All right, everyone, now that our projects are dry, we're ready to assemble the last pages of our journal. So we are almost there. Let's go ahead and open up our journal and get to that last page. We have come so far, and we've gotten all these pages finished, and they turned out so cute. I just love every part of this journal. I think it turned out great. So here we are now on page 6 and page 7. So let me just kind of move everything over a bit so that I can see what I'm doing here. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll just move everything over to this side. All these little pieces from all these pages. And then I can just kind of move everything onto this side of the screen. So let me make sure I have everything here. Okay, wow, we've got a pile of stuff to add into our journal. So here we go. Now we're going to start out with adding our accent paper into our page. And I picked this cute little polka dot color. I just think it's so cute. Now we're going to make pockets out of this. So we're only going to glue 3 sides, and we're going to leave the outside edge open. And this is just, you know, this is just another idea because there's so many ways that you can make pockets inside your journal and add extra little things to it. And I just love this idea of doing that. It's just like another added surprise. So I'm going to just glue these in. And so I've only glued just these edges, just the inside edge and the sides, and I'm going to do the same over here. Just add my glue to the edge. And just place that right here. Make sure that's straight. Looks like it is. And now I've got these two cute pockets that are right on the edge that we can slip a pull-out into, which I just love. So let's start out with this page over here, and we're going to use these this layering die. It just works so great, and I think I'm just going to layer these things just like this. So they're all from this set. We've used this set a lot in this journal, and it's just so handy because it cuts out all these pieces, and then you can trim them up narrower, or you can trim them up shorter if you want to, but they're straight and they're made to kind of layer together. So we're going to do it this way, and then we're going to leave a pocket in here. So we're going to glue these three together and then glue them into our journal and leave this pocket open. So let's do that. So I'm just going to add my glue to this part and place that right on there. And it does help to turn it over and look at the back to see if it's straight. That does help. And then we'll put this one over here, like so. And I think that looks pretty good. So we're good on here. I'm going to just glue it in right now, and just a little bit to the inside of my accent paper. And then just 3 sides. So just across the back and across the sides, so that I have a little open pocket here. And I'm just going to glue it inside a little bit, just like this. How cute. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this side over here. And this is the frame, and we're just going to place that frame on the inside. And I cut the frame out of the same plaid purple that I think is just so cute. So I'm just going to glue this down now. And it's going to go right on this page, so just right in the center. And that looks pretty close. Okay, so I also cut out my sentiment, and this is the verse that I'm putting here, Matthew 28, 5 through 7, and it talks about the angel and what he said to the women when they came to the tomb. And it's going to go right inside this frame because we cut it out with the same die. And so it's going to fit in here perfectly. So let's just glue that in. Perfect. All right, so now let's make our little pull tabs that are going to go inside the page. And here they are. And you know, like I said before, we've made several of these now. They don't have to be any specific size. I can tell you what size these are. So these are about 2.5 by 1 3/4. That's pretty close to what they are. And they're gonna just slip in here just like this, because we left lots of space open for them. So let's add our little tabs to them. And there are 2 of these. This die has gotten a lot of use with this journal. I just absolutely love these little pullouts. I just think they're so cute and fun to open. All right, so here we go. Again, we're going to try to get this straight in the middle. I think that's close enough. You know, if you want to, you could measure. It's a little bit off, but I think it's okay. And let's do this one. You could measure, and then you'd for sure get it in the center. But we're just gonna eyeball it here. Oops, wow, that's way off. Let's just get that a little closer to the center. There we go, much better. Well, pretty close. Pretty close. You know, we're not about perfection here, so. All right, so, and on these, we're gonna put these little sentiments here. He is risen, just as he said. How perfect is that? And we're just going to add those. And I cut these out with that same little rectangle die, the rectangle die set nested. But you can cut these out just with whatever you want. You could just trim them up, cut out in a square. There's lots of room to put them on here, so you could cut them out in an oval if you want to. Okay, you know, I was just thinking that it probably would have been easier to glue these on first. It probably would have been easier to center the tab by gluing it in, and maybe finding the center here and making a mark, and finding the center here and making a mark. So, you know, we learn as we go. I learn stuff too. Every time I make these journals, I learn stuff. So that was a good lesson to learn. I think that would actually work really well. All right, so he is risen just as he said is going to go on this page. And then I have a little bookmark that is going to go on the inside. And I'm just going to tuck it in here like this. And let's put something on it, a little sentiment here that says, I am the resurrection and the life. This is John 11:25. And again, it was cut out with one of the little rectangles from the nested rectangle set. And you could add some string or twine. Let's just add a little bit on here. And then we'll just put this through the opening. So these little bookmarks are just, they're so cute, and they're just perfect to add in these journals because they're small and they just add a lot of fun. And you can make them personal, you know, for the person that you're sending this to, or yourself. Okay, so we've got that in, and I'm just going to trim this off so it's not too long. And there we go. We've got a little bookmark that is just going to slip right in here into this opening. We've got our little pull tabs that can come out like this. Come out just like this. And our frame. And now we just need to add our little watercolor flowers that we made. And the easiest way, I think, is to do them on the end first. So let's glue down the little frames. Get this glue off the end here. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. Onto here. So if you kind of, you know, place the ones on the end so that they're the same distance from the end, you can center the middle one. I mean, I'm always trying to find ways to center things correctly and get them even and without having to measure. That's really the bottom line, is I don't want to have to measure. So I want to use all these tricks to get them centered without doing that. Okay, now we can just do the one in the center, and we can space it evenly in between. I think that's just a great idea. And we can just kind of line this up in between here. And that is just perfect right there. All right, and now we can add our little flowers in. And you can use whichever combination you want. You can do 2 purples and a violet, or you could do the opposite. You could do 2 violets and a purple. So let's just do that. I think that's cute. And the other one is going to go on the next page. And see how great these fit in here? They just fit in here perfect. These little frames are just so cute. And you know, when you need something really fast and simple, these little simple watercolors in a frame are just, they're so cute. And they're really fast. I mean, this is literally one stamp, the same stamp. Okay, we've got this page finished. I don't think there's anything left to do on this one. We've got this one finished, so let's go on to the back side. This is page 7 now, so the last page, and we're going to now add the rest of our little pieces in here. Okay, trying to keep myself organized here, you guys. Okay, so this is the last page, and we're going to add in our accent page, which is this one. Now we're just going to glue this in here, just like that. And just kind of center it in here along this line. And then let's do our accent page on the other side. And I'm going to use this light blue paper to add to the other side here. And I'm just going to glue that in straight. Okay, there we go. And then I cut another little accent piece of that same color, and I'm just gonna kind of add it in here like this. I think that will just add a little more interest. And just going to kind of just lay it in here like this, kind of right in the center. All right, now we can add our little birdhouses. So I'm going to glue this one in, and this is just one of the nested circle dies. So there are lots of these in the set, and they just work great to, you know, for a little bit of a background behind. How cute is that? So let's go ahead and glue these little birdhouses in. Perfect. And then we're going to put the sentiment on here is going to be, sing to the Lord, for he has done glorious things. I absolutely love that. And we'll just back that onto this little tag right here. And you can, this is cut out also with the rectangle set, but you could, of course, cut this out on whatever you want to. There's plenty of space around it so that you can cut it out with a die. Cute. Let's go ahead and glue this in. Put that right in the center of that little picture. Love that. And now let's do the other side. And we're going to put in the pocket, a little pocket. This is a pocket that we used before. And it's with the original die set, the journal die set. So you have this in the original set. And it comes with a score line. So all we have to do is just fold on the score lines and glue this down. And that is going to go right over on this side. Right in here. And you just want to kind of hold that there for a minute just to make sure that it really sticks. There we go. And we're going to make a little card that just fits in this pocket. And it's just going to tuck right in here just like this. So we're going to add some white, you know, a little white section. And again, these are cut with the rectangle die set, but let me tell you what size they are. If you want to just cut them yourself. This is looks like 1 1/8 or so by 2 1/4, just somewhere in that vicinity. And then we're just going to glue these down to the inside. And this little card, by the way, is just the die that cuts this decorative paper. Folded in half, so you can see. See, it's the same size as this. And I just fold it in half, and it just makes the cutest little card. So we're just going to glue these little white rectangles inside so that you could write something in here if you want to, make it personal. One on that side and then one on the other. This one right over here on this side. So we've got two in here. Like that. And then let's add our little floral to it. So this is the fourth one of these that we made. And we're just gonna glue this down, right, kind of right a little bit towards the top, but more in the center of the card. And then we'll glue our little floral in here. And of course, it just fits perfectly in there. Isn't that just cute? It's just so cute to make that little picture, that little watercolor on there. And then we can add something decorative to the envelope too. We can just glue a little decorative circle on here like this. And just a little floral. There's all kinds of little things that come in the die sets. All kinds of little extras. So we can add something in there just like that too. That's so cute. And then tuck that little card in. And I'm just gonna add a little ribbon to it. I've got this really pretty purple. And I can just tie this. Kind of put it through here like this. You could just put a bow on it too. You wouldn't have to necessarily tie it onto here like this, but I think it's so cute to do that. So let's see if I can tie this. Let's kind of pull this over to the side. You know, when you're doing these little things, you just feel like you're all thumbs, don't you? I sure do. Okay, I think we got it. Pull that in a little bit, make that a little smaller. Whoops. I think this ribbon is just so cute. So let's trim it off here and trim this side off. And we've got our little bow on there. That's so cute, just like that. And this page is finished. So we can just go on to the back side now. And you know, we just can't leave that plain. So I'm just gonna decorate this one, and then you guys can decide if you want to do that or not. But I just, you know what, add a little frame like this. It's just so cute. And then we'll put our little hydrangeas in there and we'll call it good. You could put a little message in here too. That would be really cute. Another little scripture verse. But it's so cute when you open up your journal and you see something in there. I love that. Okay, so now our little floral, and of course it's going to fit in here perfect because we cut it with the same die. In here just like that. And then our little sentiment we can put up here, or you could put something personal on here too. This little Easter blessing is so cute. And it will just fit perfectly right there. And you guys, we have finished our Easter inspirational journal, and look how cute it is. So we've got our first cover. Inside, we've got our little notebook, our little tag, and the church, our little pullouts in here, and then our little middle pocket, which I think turned out so cute. I love this idea of putting this little pocket in the middle. It's sort of like a little bonus, extra bonus page. And then on the inside, we've got our little tag that says, "For us all." And the little tag that says, "I know that my Redeemer lives." Isn't that just what Easter is all about? It is just the best. And then in here, we've got this little pullout that says, "By his stripes we are healed," and yes, we are. Moving on to this page, and our little bookmark that says, "I am the resurrection and the life." And then, of course, these little pullouts that say, "He is risen, just as he said." And then back here, you can write a personal little note to someone. "Sing to the Lord, for he has done glorious things." What a way to end this journal, huh? Love it. Easter blessings to all of you. Thank you so much for following along with me. I think this was one of my favorite journals that I have made so far, and I love that we were doing it together. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a wonderful Easter, and thank you so much for following along with me. Blessings to all of you.